and welcome to my little bookish corner of the internet. My name is Harriet. Today I'm going to be doing my reading wrap up for the month of January. Obviously it's the first month of a new year, so I definitely wanted to pick up some books that I was really excited to read last year and didn't get to, but I kind of went off course a little bit with some of them. I tried to read the ones that were on my TBR that I intended to read for the month, but I kind of got distracted and one of those books was massive and it was making me feel a bit sad that I wasn't reading as much. So yeah, things are a little bit different to what I anticipated, but I'm really happy with what I read, so let's get into it. So this might come as a bit of a shock to some people because I've never really spoken too much about my love for this kind of series, and it shocked me honestly when I saw them on eBay and thought, yeah, I'm actually going to buy those and read them, and also shocked me how much I enjoyed them. But that is the two Twilight graphic novels that came out. Now the artist, I believe, actually got sick when they were completing the second part of New Moon, so there were only these two and then the first part of New Moon, which I don't have. But the illustrations within both of these books are very beautiful. For some reason, volume 2 is more expensive and more difficult to get your hands on, so I don't know if it's because they were less published. But yeah, anyway, they're just two graphic novels and they pretty much completely follow the story of the first book rather than the films, but they come with the illustrations. Some of them are in black and white, some of them are in colour, and they're just really beautiful. I had a really lovely time with them, and it was a very quick way to read the first book without reading the first book kind of thing, because they are quite long. And yeah, it's just really rekindled my love for the series. I really enjoyed them, and I think it's quite cute that they kind of match up. And Edward and Bella are in the meadow there. So yeah, not my usual thing, and I don't really read graphic novels apart from obviously my partner's because I'm part of that project and I love his art because it's him. But yeah, I've not really read graphic novels before, but maybe I will because I really enjoyed these. So I would give them both a 4-star rating because I had a great time with them. The only thing I will say is it kind of upset me that not more panels were coloured. It is mainly in black and white. It's still very beautiful and I understand that it takes a lot of time to colour and shade, but yeah, that just upset me a little bit. So that's why it wasn't 5 stars, but I really enjoyed it and I will read these again in the future if I ever get that kind of Twilight urge. I've loved the series for a really long time now, if you didn't already know. So yeah, you have seen a side of me that I've not really shown anyone before. Speaking of which, Titanic. So I found this at a book swap, and it's basically got all the information about how they made the film, and things about the actual ship itself, and facts and figures, and all the information about how much it cost to make the film, the process they went through, which usually isn't my kind of thing. But I read this in one sitting and then actually bought 2 books on my Kindle to do with the Titanic. They were non-fictions. This is obviously, it is non-fiction, but it's about a fictional film that was made. But yeah, this was stunning, so beautiful, and there's illustrations in here for things like the props and all of the kind of hair and makeup, and even things down to the outfits and things that all of the characters wear. It was just really interesting and gave me a new respect for the film, because I know a lot of people think it's kind of silly, like it's a romance. Not everyone loves it, but they put so much time and effort into this, and for the director to actually go down to see the Titanic multiple times and put his life at risk going down there because it is really dangerous, just so that he could get a more accurate representation of life on the ship, is just amazing. So I found this very interesting. Again, this was a 4-star read for me. I don't want to say that it's 5 stars because it just is what it is. Like, it captivated me because I love Titanic and I love the film and I find it hauntingly interesting. But I think if I read a actual non-fiction about the Titanic itself, that would probably be more of a 5-star rating for me. So yeah, it was very interesting. I had a really lovely time reading it and I'm really glad that I picked it up, and it was free. The next book I read, I do have a physical copy of, but it's right at the back of my bookshelf and I'm not going to go and grab it, unfortunately. But that is Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. I've been slacking in terms of reading classics recently, so I thought I would pick this up and give it a go, and I'm so glad that I did. I have seen the film before. We are following 3 sisters and their mother when their father dies, and what happens when they don't have enough money to kind of keep living the life that their father gave to them. And we're mainly following the 2 older sisters, how they fit into that society when this was set. Obviously everything is very much based around your wealth and your money, so it's really hard for them not having that money there and trying to fit into this society, this high society. So we're following them, the relationships that they make and the issues that they have kind of fitting into that society. So it was very interesting. It's obviously got romantic elements in there. It's got kind of the wit from Pride and Prejudice, and then the sweet side of things from Persuasion, which are 2 of the Austen novels that I've read before that I really enjoyed. So yeah, it's quite a long book. That's the only thing that really kind of put a down on things. But other than that, I had a good time and I gave it 4 stars. Another 4-star book for me was Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. I'm not going to say anything about this because I have filmed a review for it, so I'm really sorry. You'll have to wait until that's out to find out what I thought of it. We are following a young woman called Frances and her relationships and friendships and how they kind of intermingle and what happens when she starts to fall for a married man. So yeah, I have read Normal People as well. I do also have a review for that, but keep an eye out for my review for this book. Another wild ride of a book that I read this month that I actually kind of forgot about is Winter by Ali Smith. Again, that book is somewhere on my bookshelf towards the back, so I'm not going to go and grab it. But this was a very strange story. So we are following the life of this family and some of the people that come into that life, and it's all based around one Christmas in this farmhouse in Cornwall. And it was very weird. It was very kind of surreal to start with, and then things started to kind of unravel. I don't even really know how to ever describe Ali Smith's books because the storyline is definitely not the main part of the book. It's absolutely to do with the messages that the author is putting across and the way that it's written, which is actually why I enjoy that author's writing. It's something a bit different for me. I don't need a particularly strong storyline as long as the writing is something that I really enjoy. I actually found it more interesting and more captivating than Autumn, which is the first one that I read because obviously it's a seasonal quartet. I'm trying to read one each season so I can get through them but not too quickly. And it's definitely a very cosy, perfect read for winter time. A little bit strange, but it dealt with a lot of things like family issues and relationships, and I really enjoyed reading it, so that was a 4-star rating for me as well. Another book that unfortunately I'm not going to talk about too much, but I will tell you the rating, is If Cats Disappeared from the World by Genki Kawamura. This is my first 5-star read from the year. It was incredible. Again, I don't want to say too much, but we're following our main character when he basically gets told that he could die any day because he has got a brain tumour, and one day the devil kind of materialises in front of him and offers him an extra day of life for every single thing that he takes from the world. So say mobile phones to disappear, you could have an extra day of life, but how would that affect the world? How would that affect all of the people that are surrounding you? And also how would it just affect you, your day-to-day life, and that final day that you have? So this book, I think for me, was the right place, right time, because I have been dealing a lot with the idea of life ending and death and things like that. So for me to read this, it's really changed my perspective on life. So yeah, it was a very interesting read. Obviously, I enjoyed it very much. It made me cry a lot. It's very emotional and it has cats in it, which relates to my current situation. It was a 5-star read and I'm really glad that I finally read it. It's very short and I do recommend it to absolutely anyone. So I have read a total of 7 books in this month, which is pretty good. I wish I would have been able to read more because I've set myself 100 books to read this year, which is going to be kind of difficult because I'm actually working this year. So last year we had some lockdowns and things like that. So yeah, I read 7 books in total, and then I am still currently reading The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. This is a really big book, but I'm just over halfway through it now. So I reckon if I kind of speed things up and dedicate my time just to this, then I can really smash through it and hopefully get to it before the middle of February so I can read some other books. But I knew it was going to take me a while because it was a really long book. This is a fantasy book. Once I finished it, I'll give you more of like an in-depth review and my thoughts on it. But it's basically the story of our main character called Kvoth. I think that's how you say his name. And he's telling his story to a writer, and the writer is obviously writing it down. So it's a bit of a weird concept and a weird way to tell a story because I don't think anyone would be able to remember this much of their life in such detail, and it is extremely detailed. But I am enjoying it regardless, and I'm excited to see where it goes. The only thing that is really annoying me at the moment is every so often he will say the name of the wind in the story, and it feels like he's putting it in there to be like, oh, that's the name of the book, that's really funny, and it's not. It annoys me, but that might just be me. So yeah, I am enjoying it, but that's one little gripe that I have with it. So overall, it's been a really good month for me. I've read quite a variation of different genres of books, which is something that I'm trying to do in this year. I know next month I want to set myself some non-fictions to read for sure. Let me know down below if you've read any of these and also what your favourite book from the month was. But that is it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!